I don't know children's books at all because I grew up in a house without any children's books.
She did the greeting cards. She lives up in northwestern Connecticut.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And she's got other great books like this that my wife is aware of and I am not.
Philadelphia Chicken.
That's a great one.
You gotta get that book.
Well, this is great, and the way my wife says spooky makes my heart break. And this is a book. I didn't realize you were going to be here. This is a book by a local author, Jim Ben, who actually works in my school district. And Jim writes historical fiction, although I think he writes other types of things too. But I've only read his historical fiction. And he, unlike me, he's writing a series on this character Billy Boyle. So if you like historical fiction, it's sort of like, I always describe it as like a 1950s detective novel meets World War II historical fiction. It's the kind of book that when I'm reading it, I visualize it in black and white, like Casablanca. It comes across that way for me. It's really great, and it's a fun read. And it's the kind of book that, it's that kind of book that you don't want to put down. And for me, I'm more of a historical person as opposed to the mystery that's taking place in the story, but the historical fiction is great. I think this is the book where I learned about how the Germans all got stuck in Norway trapped all those people in Norway it was really interesting. And it forces you to go to Wikipedia and start reading more about things. And then I'm going to recommend a cookbook, even though I don't cook. And this is a few years old, but this is called My Ex-Boyfriend's Cookbook. And it's written by two ladies, Erin Ergenbright and Visby Nissen. And they got together and they wrote a cookbook. All the recipes come from their ex-boyfriends. And so on one side of the page tells the story of the ex-boyfriend, and on the other side is the recipe that they got from the ex-boyfriend. And I don't cook, so this is the only cookbook I own, and I don't own it for the recipes, I just own it for the stories on the website. But it's a great book, because I've never read it straight through, but I always pick it up and just go, today I'm going to read about Sonny. And I read about Sonny and how much she hated him, or the awful things he did to her, and then I read the recipe. And like I said, I don't cook them, but it's a really great book, and it's about 7 years old, so I don't know how hard this one will be to find, but it's great. And then for the summer, this is my nonfiction suggestion, Close to Shore, Michael Capuzzo. Like I said, I grew up in a house without children's books. We had half of an encyclopedia set, so I read A through K through my childhood over and over again. I know a lot about like Algeria. And then I read Jaws when I was 10, which is not a book a 10-year-old should read, but I remember reading it at 10, and it's great. Like, if you haven't read Jaws, the movie is like one of the finest movies ever made, but the book is even better. But this is the nonfiction story that the book came from. In the 1920s, there actually was a great white shark off the coast of New Jersey who killed a lot of people. Actually went up a river, so if you're swimming in like fresh water, it warns you that you're not actually safe and that fresh water connects to the ocean. If you don't want to go in the water this summer, I strongly suggest you read this book. But it's a great piece of nonfiction that it was given to me by a student. The student said, the shark reminds me of you, Mr. Dix, because it's really persistent. And I've read it more than once. So those are my suggestions. I'll leave them up here in case you're interested.